Hi, and thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. Glad you made it today. Today I wanted to talk to you about a hidden benefit for surviving spouses. So this is really important for us to know as we're above ground, and also important for us to share with our loved ones so they're aware that these benefits exist. And if you are a surviving spouse, thank you for everything that you've endured, and I appreciate you watching my channel. Hopefully this will help you, and you can share this information as well. So if this is something you're into, please hit the thumbs up for me, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It helps to get the word out there, which is really my main goal. So what we're looking at here is VA survivor's pension. So it works basically the same as pension for the veteran, but this is for surviving spouse and also potentially children. So it's a very, very important benefit, often not looked at, and there's definitely not a lot of information on it out there for our loved ones. So I'm going to kind of dive into it here. I'm going to give you the high-level overview, and then I'm going to read some stuff from the website for you. So the high-level overview is pension is just deceiving, first of all. It drives me nuts that the VA uses the word pension because it makes people think of retirement. And obviously, surviving spouses aren't seeking retirement income from the VA. And so when you say pension, and even for veterans, right, that are looking for pension benefits, it's deceiving. So in any case, this is basically a safety net for veterans and surviving spouses and potentially children on a monetary basis. So it is a monetary benefit. It's income based. Okay, so you can't make $100,000 a year unless you have dramatic medical expenses that aren't being reimbursed. But let's just pretend you don't, and just say you're making $100,000 a year and you don't really have anything. You're not going to qualify for this. But if you are up against hard times and it's difficult to make ends meet and you don't have a lot of money coming in, this may be the fix, right? So this might be a benefit that's there for you. So again, income based, so you have to qualify that way. And what happens is you take your income and you subtract out subtractable expenses. So let's say you're going to school. Let's say that so it's educational expenses and medical expenses that are not reimbursed. So those are the two big things that can be deducted from it. And then you can receive a monthly offset, taking you up to the maximum allowable amount of the pension. So I'm going to read through it here, give you some of the meat and potatoes here, and then give you some of the dollar figures so you can understand how it works. So I'm at the VA's website here. So VA Survivor Pension, and it says a VA survivor's pension offers monthly payments to qualified surviving spouses and unmarried dependent children of wartime veterans. So that's the first caveat. Has to be a wartime veteran, and you have to, there's a couple different qualifiers depending on when you served or when the veteran served that qualifies as the amount of time in that specific war period. It does not mean the person has to be a combat veteran. So the veteran did not need to see combat. They just needed to have served during a wartime period. And then it says, for wartime veterans who meet certain income and net worth limits set by Congress. And that fluctuates, changes every year, typically goes up. Find out if you qualify and how to apply. And then it says here, am I eligible for VA survivor's pension as a surviving spouse? You may be eligible for this benefit if you haven't remarried. So key, step one, haven't remarried after the veteran's death, and if the deceased veteran didn't receive a dishonorable discharge and their service meets at least one of these requirements. So one, and there's three listed, so it has to meet one of them. The veteran entered active duty on or before September 7th, 1980, and served at least 90 days on active military service with at least 1 day during a covered wartime period. So had to have served at least 1 day in a wartime period with at least 90 days of active service, okay? So that's one option. Other option is the veteran entered active duty after September 7th, 1980, and served at least 24 months. So now it's bumped up to 2 years. Veteran has to have served 2 years if they joined, if they were in active duty after September 7th, right? So now if you have somebody who bridges the gap, right, and most of their time was before September 1980, but they trickled into 1980 and then they got out, as long as they had that 90 days in the front part, they're good. So this is most likely the folks that are, bridged it and are going the other way. So the veteran entered active duty after September 7th, 1980, and served at least 24 months or the full period for which they were called or ordered to active duty, with some exceptions, with at least 1 day during a covered wartime period. So the 1 day remains the same. You had to have at least 1 day during an active, war period, active wartime period, but you had to have served at least 24 months or your full period in which you were called to active duty. The third option is the veteran was an officer and started on active duty after October 16th, 1981, and hadn't previously served on active duty for at least 24 months. So that's the last option there. Then it gives you the wartime options, which, that can just be another video, I guess. But so there's all the different wartime periods from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, and you can look those up. Next line here is, am I eligible for VA survivor pension as the child of a deceased wartime veteran? You may be eligible for this benefit if you are unmarried and you meet at least one of these requirements. You're under 18. You're under 23 and attending a VA-approved school, which a VA-approved school is typically any school that's going to be authorized and recognized by the Department of Education, right? So, but you could just check. And quite frankly, if you don't, then think about transferring, right? So if you're under 23 and you're attending a VA-approved school. Now, what the VA means also by under 23 is that means all the way through the age 22 until you hit 23. Then it's over. So under age of 23. The third one is you're unable to care for yourself due to a disability that happened before age 18. This one's really important. The disability had to have occurred prior to you being 18 years old. Okay, so if you had some sort of a disabling event, disease, something that took over, then and it was prior to you turning 18, then that would be the qualifier for this. So here's the war times. Actually, it kind of just went right into it. So what war times periods do you recognize for pension benefits? Mexican border, 1916, 1917, World War I. I'm just going to give kind of the years. 1917 to 1918, World War II, 1941 to 46, Korean, 1950 to 1955, Vietnam, 1955 to 1975. And then it says veterans who served in the Republic of Vietnam during the period of 1964 to May 75 for veterans who served outside the... Okay, so it's a little bit of a difference. So it's either 55 to 75 or 64 to 75, depending on where you actually served during the Vietnam War. And then Gulf War is August 1990 to we're still waning, right? And then I'm going to flip over. So then it just tells you how do you apply. And obviously it's forms. These forms are more extensive than filing for disability claims because they're digging into your income and financials. They're looking at your net worth. They're looking at your monthly expenses. So all of that type of stuff. And it'll outline all that here. The next page that I went to, I just had to Google it a different way and get into the VA's website and from another angle, is, how much is it going to be, right? So it's set forth by Congress. It changes all the time. So for 2023, VA pension rates for veterans, and this is also, it's just pension rates in general, right? So whether you're a veteran or a surviving spouse, the net worth. So what's the net worth limit to be eligible for the pension benefits. It says from December 1st, 22 to November 30th, 23, the net worth limit for an eligible veteran pension benefit is $150,538 net worth. Now, this does not include your house or your vehicle. So the $150,000 is not including those types of things. So very important to know because that obviously $150,000, it's easy to get over fairly quickly. Let's see. On October 18th, 2018, we changed the way we assess net worth to make the pension entitlement rules clearer. Net worth includes your and your spouse's assets. So this is talking about for a veteran specifically. Same rules will apply, only obviously there wouldn't be a spouse because the spouse would be the one applying. Assets and annual income. When you apply for a veteran's pension benefit, you'll need to report all of these assets and income. If your child's net worth is more than the net worth limit, we don't consider them to be a dependent when determining your pension. Assets include the fair market value of all your real estate, of all your real and personal property, minus the amount of any mortgages you have. Real property means land and buildings you may own. Your personal property includes any of these items: investments, furniture, boats. Assets you don't include: your primary residence, the home where you live most of the time. It says assets don't include your car, basic home items like appliances that you wouldn't take with you if you move to a new house. So like you're not going to rip the stove out. So again, assets do not include your primary residence, your car, and basic home items like appliances that you wouldn't take with you. Okay, important to know. Annual income. Your annual income is the money earned in a year from a job or from retirement or annuity payments that include any of these: salary or hourly pay, bonuses, commissions, overtime, tips. We'll subtract certain expenses from your annual income when we assess your net worth. We call these acceptable deductible expenses. They include educational expenses, important for the dependent child, and medical expenses if you're not reimbursed for them. Okay, so if you're not getting reimbursed for those bottles of Motrin or whatever else you're getting, anything that you're buying, bandages, anything like that you're not getting reimbursed for, will be subtracted from the income. An example of net worth and eligibility: if you had $121,000 in assets and $14,000 in annual income, then your net worth would be $135,000. So they're taking your total assets and then adding 1 year of income, and they're calling that your net worth. So $135,000. So $121 in assets plus $114 in annual income. Then they're adding those two together. So 121 and 14 takes you to 135. This is less than the net worth limit of $150,538. So you would be eligible for veterans pension. And then there's a 3-year look back period. So they're going to look to make sure that you're not trying to fraud the system and hide things and move things to your children's name, that type of stuff. Let's see. Find your maximum annual pension rate. Okay. Your maximum annual pension rate. The date of the cost of living increase is December 1st, 2022. The increase factor of 8.7%. And then it says standard Medicare deduction. Actual amount will be determined by SSA based on individual income. And so loosely here, the maximum amount is $16,037. $16,037. What that is $1,336 per month. That's the maximum income that you can have from pension, which means the way that they'll look at it is, let's say that you bring in $1,000 a month. from whatever, right? You have Social Security or something, and you're bringing in $1,000 a month, but that's all your income. And then let's say that from that, you're able to deduct another $200 from your medical expenses, school, whatever. So now you have an adjusted $800. So now you're bringing in $800 for this purpose, $800 a month. Well, your maximum's $13. So what they'll do is they will make up the difference. So you will get a check from the VA for $536 per month while your income remains at that amount. So with that, I hope it helps. I'll put some information in the comments and in the description. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.